What's up, freaks? This is just me, and today we're gonna be ranking the 8 mandatory poses, including the most muscular, of the Austrian Oak Arnold Schwarzenegger, from worst to best. And we're gonna be considering the poses throughout the bodybuilder's whole career. So, for instance, if they were strong in a mandatory at the start, but as time went on, it became a weaker one, it's gonna end up as a mediocre pose in this video. But that's enough. Let's get right into it, starting with an introduction. Although in this case, there's really probably no one who doesn't know Arnold. He competed in the 70s primarily. He's a 7-time Olympia champ with a crazy successful career, not only in bodybuilding, but also as an actor and a politician. And to most people, he's the perfect physique and the embodiment of bodybuilding as well. He had the best pecs of all time, that's the general consensus on that, and he had a really strong set of biceps as well as a good back, and he was an exceptional poser too. And now, let's get right into the ranking. The weakest pose for the Oak would be the rear lat spread. There aren't many photos of him hitting this pose, so I apologize for that, but either way, we can tell he wasn't masterful in it, and some other competitors could probably beat him. He's got pretty decent lats, and the back development definitely isn't horrible, but his back looks kind of small to my taste, if you ask me, and you can tell he's just not well suited to this pose. It definitely wasn't one of his favorites. The lower body doesn't look very impressive from the rear in this pose either, so not the best one for the Oak. And moving forward, we have the side triceps pose. And if you don't know much about Arnold or bodybuilding in general, you might be questioning my sanity because his triceps look pretty awesome. He actually had a great horseshoe, not as good as his biceps, but still good. The problem, if you want to call it that, with Arnold's side triceps is that he just didn't do it. He just avoided it, and sometimes he did shots like the mantis pose instead of the normal side triceps, and that for me just seals the deal. This great pose gets bumped down from one of the best to one of the worst of Arnold because he was a little stubborn and he has almost no pictures in it. And I think that was a mistake. I don't really understand his strategy here. I'm telling you, this pose looked pretty awesome from the little amount of pictures that we have, like on the left, where he is very young but still looks very good in the pose. So, although he has a great arm and a thick chest and the sunk waistline, it doesn't really help. And next up is the ab and thigh pose, and Arnold's abs look respectable, and although he doesn't have huge quads, this pose still doesn't look bad. But his waist ain't that waspy either. He's smartly opting for the side oblique variation of the ab and thigh though, so that helps. And he sports a pretty separated midsection, although he only has a 4-pack. It's well shaped and he's got a decent V-taper still, decent lats, so he looks pretty good in this pose, aesthetic for sure. It's just not the one of the poses that we know him for, not a pose that he excelled in. And fourth to last, we got the front lat spread. He never excelled in the lat spreads either, like he did in the double biceps poses, for instance, although he looks pretty good in these photos. There aren't many, but from what is available, his lats looked very decent. Lower body as well, in this pose in particular, doesn't look that undersized. The quads look pretty good. And the chest is of course good, it's Arnold after all. However, the effect of the pose isn't as imposing because he just doesn't flow as much in a pose where he cannot showcase that much of his strength like the arms or the pecs. And in fourth place, I have the rear double biceps pose. Let me tell you, Arnold's back might be a little underrated, especially in comparison with his biceps, because look at that. His Christmas tree is sure one of the most impressive and stand out in this pose. In particular, it shows super well. The rest of the back development is not bad either. It's pretty good in the lats and traps. His arms were really peaky and tall, which made them look really good in the double biceps poses, and the lower body looks way better than in the back lat spread pictures. He managed to bring up his calves tremendously at the end of his career, so here in these pics, they look actually quite giant. A great pose. But third, I have Arnold Schwarzenegger's most muscular pose, which of course wasn't compulsory during his era and long after it for the matter, but he looked unbelievable in it, either way. His legs are maybe slightly smaller, of course, but it's not like they're absolutely puny and they are mostly hidden in this pose. But surely he's got insane pecs and arms. His traps, shoulders, and the abs also look very good. He's got an incredible crab most muscular, and this is the only one he hit. I guess back in the 70s there wasn't a whole lot of different most muscular variations, and Arnold's crab can be considered one of the best of all time in my eyes. Look, he's got a bit of that bubbly muscle and insane conditioning too. He was a massive competitor for the time, so of course he's gonna have a great most muscular. He looks very powerful in it. But in second place, I have the front double bicep shot. This is a legendary Arnold pose, right? He used a special posing style to help minimize his waistline, which wasn't all that tiny. He tilted his upper body to the side like that. Arnold's lower body looked pretty good in this pose, maybe better than in other poses, I think. His midsection looks trim and cinched in with that nice vacuum, and also a great lat taper and full chest. And of course, I won't forget that Arnold possesses one of the best sets of biceps in history. They are asymmetrical, of course. One of them is kind of shorter, you can notice that, but it doesn't really make any difference because both his biceps bellies are incredibly peaky and developed anyway. They are in fact probably overdeveloped compared to the triceps and forearms, but that makes his arms look even more unreal and unbelievable, so it ain't much of a problem, at least as I see it. Just a beautiful pose, flows so well, with the arms being close to the size of the waist, and also a great posing style. It looks very natural. However, that being said, we all probably knew which pose would win this mandatory ranking before I even said anything, and it's the side chest pose. This is no doubt what the Oak is most known for and most notorious for his pecs, and his side chest pose too. He did it in a different way than competitors nowadays. He propped up his pecs and lifted up his great rib cage. That made his midsection seem very small and the pecs and rib cage seem ginormous on the other hand. Look at that huge chest. That's just unreal. It looks extremely well developed, which it of course was. Both the upper pecs and the lower chest are bulging out. It's just unbelievable. And true, this pose isn't all about the chest, but Arnie was an exception, I guess. For him, his legs don't look that awesome, his arms look good, but not matching his jumbo pecs, and the shoulders look rather on the smaller side in comparison. But you know what? I think most fans would absolutely agree it doesn't really make a difference. Most people count Arnold Schwarzenegger's side chest among the top two of all time, regardless of the posing style. At least I would wager so. But just on a side note, I would like to see one thing. What would Arnold have looked like if he had stroked this pose in the modern way, similar to a most muscular pose, putting more emphasis on the arm and delts? I think his chest would still look crazy thick, but I would love to see that. So, That's of course all the poses, guys. Let me know down in the comment section below if you agree with my ranking or if you would flip-flop a few mandatories here and there. I would love to know your thoughts on this. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to watch some Arnold Schwarzenegger videos and also like and subscribe. Enjoy the rest of your day.